नमस्कार दोस्तों, आपका मेरा यूट्यूब चैनल लीगल चैप्टर में हार्दिक स्वागत है। मैं नितेश बिंदल आज आपके लिए सोशल ऑडिटर चैप्टर 4 के बारे में डिस्कस कर रहा हूं। चैप्टर 4 जो है लीगल लीगल चैप्टर जो है सोशल ऑडिटर के चैप्टर 4 के अंदर रजिस्ट्रेशन एंड लिस्टिंग ऑन स्टॉक एक्सचेंज के बारे में बताया गया है। इस चैप्टर को पढ़ने का हमारा ऑब्जेक्ट है कि इसमें हमें रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस पता चल जाएगा, राइट्स एंड ऑब्लिगेशन डिस्क्लोजर क्या क्या है उसके सोशल ऑडिटर के, और की लिस्टिंग गाइडलाइन जो भी प्रोवाइड की गई है NISM के थ्रू, वो हमें यहाँ पे पता चलेंगी। पहला रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस ऑन सोशल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज है। फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन द सोशल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज शैल नोटिफाई द कंडीशंस as applicable on social enterprise as on date of filing of document with SEBI. SSC shall also direct social enterprise to follow the rules and principles framed by the Social Stock Exchange Governing Council. Eligibility requirement: a social enterprise shall be eligible for fundraising through the Social Stock Exchange mechanism after fulfilling the below mentioned prior condition. Establish the primary intent of social impact as per 17 social development goals for being eligible to qualify for onboarding the social stock exchange। जो 17 बोर्ड जो दिए रखे हैं गोल्स, अगर वो आपके हैं फुल, उनमें से कोई सा भी गोल है तो आप फर्स्ट स्टेप में आ जाते हैं। एंड द SSC for fundraising. The social enterprise could either engage in the product, service or program on work on research, policy analysis and development, awareness building, governance or capacity building. The activity on specific for social enterprise must focus on under-reserved and underprivileged population or geographic areas or regions that have recorded lower performance in the development priorities of national state governments. These activities may include rendering service or delivering products to the members belonging to SC, ST and other backward classes, people with special needs, that elderly, children as risk, adolescents, migrants and displaced persons may also fall under this category. Social enterprise shall have at least 67% of its activity qualifying as eligible activity to the target population. This can be ascertained by one or more of the following. First, revenue. At least 60% of the immediately preceding 3 year average revenue should have come from providing the eligible activities to members of the target population. Expenditure. At least 67% of the immediate preceding 3 year average of the social enterprise expenditure has been incurred for providing the eligible activity to the member of target population. Third, customer base beneficiaries, member of the target population to whom the eligible activities have been provided, constitute at least 67% of the immediately preceding 3 year average of the social enterprise customer base public beneficiaries, provided that the corporate foundations, political or religious organizations or activities, professionals or trade association, infrastructure and housing finance company, except affordable housing, shall not be eligible to be identified as social enterprise. इन्होंने प्रोवाइजो कर दिया कि जो भी कॉर्पोरेट फाउंडेशन है, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं, रिलीजियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, ट्रेड एसोसिएशन है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हैं, हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी है, वो एलिजिबल नहीं है सोशल एंटरप्राइज। Initial qualification criteria for onboarding. The eligibility requirement for social enterprise to get registered on social stock exchange have been given in chapter 4.1.1 जो हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं। First, after fulfilling the qualifying criteria, distinction between for-profit enterprises and non-profit organization has to be ascertained. It is necessary for a non-for-profit organization to qualify the eligibility requirement as mentioned above for the purpose of registration of social stock exchange, and thereafter it may decide either to list or not to purpose of fundraising through SSC. The minimum required for registration of non-profit organization on a social stock exchange have been specified by SEBI with this circular dated 19 September 2022. However, a profit organization shall not seek registration or listing the social stock exchange unless it is registered as a company under the Company Act 2013 or erstwhile provision of Complaint 1956 as the case may be, and complies with the requirement in terms of SEBI guidelines for issue of listing of equity or debt securities. Onboarding process for NPO. NPO, like for-profit enterprises, are not well versed with the rigorous and discipline required for raising money through public. The NPO are required to meet certain mandatory criteria in order to register. NPO possess a variety of legal structures and are regulated by a variety of statutory bodies. Legislative Act. Registration shall serve as threefold purpose. Firstly, it shall bring interested NPO onto a common platform of a legal requirement for the purpose of assessing the social enterprise. Secondly, it should inculcate a cultural shift in NPO and enable transition towards a disclosure-driven fundraising system. Thirdly, it should provide a mean for non-profit organizations and especially smaller NPO to signal the primacy of social impact and the quality of their governance. Transparency, even if they wish to not list any security at the present moment. This will enable the NPO to leverage the reputation value of being registered while raising funds. Whether or not they choose to list and their reputation value will derive from the registered NPO, satisfying the mandatory criteria which also include the annual reporting requirement as discussed mentioned. 4.1.2 Mandatory qualification requirement. First, the mandatory criteria for NPO registration in table 4.1 mentioned. आप देखेंगे mention there कर रखा है. It is to be noted that in addition to the legal requirement, the mandatory qualifying criteria for registration shall include a set of minimum size as indicated by fund received deployed. This shall include that NPO wishing to register as an adequate track record of the operation. The NPO shall ensure compliance with all the qualification requirement, registration requirement, reporting requirement, etc. at any given point of time. अब जैसे इन्होंने दे रखा है टेबल में दे रखा है लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, इंडिकेटर क्या है, डिटेल्स दे रखी है. मैंडेटरी क्राइटेरिया फॉर एनपीओ रजिस्ट्रेशन एज पर द रेगुलेशन 292(1)(f) of the SAB. Entity is registered as NPO. Indicator registration certificate valid at least next 12 months at the time of seeking registration with association. एक साल पुरानी होनी चाहिए. एंटिटी एक चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट होनी चाहिए या फिर सोसाइटी होनी चाहिए. एक चैरिटेबल रजिस्ट्रेशन ट्रस्ट 1882 रजिस्टर्ड होनी चाहिए या कंपनी अंडर सेक्शन 8 of the Company Act 2013 होनी चाहिए. ऑनरशिप एंड कंट्रोल. गवर्निंग डॉक्यूमेंट MOA और ट्रस्ट डीड बाय लॉ जो भी है. डिस्क्लोज इफ एनपीओ इज ओन्ड एंड और कंट्रोल्ड बाय गवर्नमेंट और प्राइवेट. एग्जाम्पशन रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट 12A 12AA और अंडर इनकम टैक्स एक्ट होना चाहिए. इंडिकेटर registration sector under 12A 12AA 12AB to valid for at least the next 12 months. Does not have a notice or ongoing scrutiny by income tax department. Registration with income tax as an NPO. इनकम टैक्स का पैन होना चाहिए, वैलिड पैन आईडी पैन होना चाहिए. एज ऑफ द एनपीओ रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट मिनिमम 3 years होनी चाहिए. ओके. टैक्स डिडक्शन वैलिडिटी जी होना चाहिए. ये इंडिकेटर है. डिटेल क्या है, इंश्योर whether tax deduction is available or not to the investors who will be provide the fund for NGO. फिर eligible to the be social enterprises requirement under the regulation 292(e) of ICDA regulation as may be specially social services. Minimum fund flow. Annual spending the past financial years. Receipt of payment from the audited accounts or fund flow statement at least 50 lakh rupees. फंडिंग इन द पास्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर रिसीव फ्रॉम द ऑडिटेड अकाउंट्स विद इंडिकेटर कहाँ से चेक कर सकते हैं, मस्ट बी एटलीस्ट 10 लाख. अब इन्होंने राइट्स एंड ऑब्लिगेशन एंड डिस्क्लोजर रिक्वायरमेंट्स. द SGC shall lay down the right and obligation of the NPO and for profit enterprises who wish to list with the social sector enterprise and also the nuisance of the list disclosure requirement. The list disclosure document shall contain important information on risk. The RDD, this right the obligation disclosure document shall contain right disclosure agreement shall contain the other important information on risk involved with the trading on the stock exchange. All social enterprises are required to read this document and understand the nature of relationship into which they are entering and the extent to their exposure of risk. Key listing guidelines. Existing SEBI regulation set the requirement for eligibility and govern the listing of equity and debt security issued by for-profit enterprises. Among these regulations include SEBI regulation, the process flow for onboarding social stock exchange by social enterprises, as mentioned in Chapter 4.1. Establish of primary social impact एनपीओ का अलग दिया है फॉर प्रॉफिट एनपीओ रजिस्ट्रेशन गाइडलाइंस दे रखी है इन्होंने और नो फॉर प्रॉफिट एंड नो रजिस्ट्रेशन रिक्वायरमेंट फर्स्ट एग्जिस्टिंग रेगुलेशन प्लस सोशल परफॉर्मेंस प्लस डिफरेंशिएटर्स एनपीओ सिक्योरिटी लिस्टिंग फॉर प्रॉफिट सिक्योरिटी लिस्टिंग बोथ आर इंडिकेटेड प्रॉफिट एंड सिक्योरिटी लिस्टिंग इक्विटी ऑब्लिक सोशल इम्पैक्ट फंड एनपीओ जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड जीरो प्रिंसिपल इंस्ट्रूमेंट zero social impact fund, mutual fund, equity and debt. For profit enterprises shall list their security on the appropriate existing board of stock exchange. For example, debt security shall be listed on the main board, while equity security will be either be listed on the main board NSE BSC or on the SME platform NSE Emerge oblique BSC SME or Innovators Growth Platform. The offer document of the social enterprise for various modes of fundraising shall require disclosure of aspect called differentiators. In case of profit enterprises, the differentiators mentioned in Table 4.2 are additional requirement as mandated in SEBI regulation in respect of raising fund through equity or debt. The differentiators cover aspects such as vision, target segment, strategy, governance, management, operations, finance, compliance, credibility, social impact, and risk for profit enterprises will also be required to provide information in the offer document under various SEBI regulations. As part of the pre-listing process, the NPO shall provide audited financial statement for the previous last 3 years and social impact statement. Additionally, the offer document for social enterprise shall provide the details under the following head called differentiators. First, vision, organization, activity and programs are in line with the aims and objectives stated in its constitution. Target, organization has defined its target segment and needs to accomplish its planned activities. Clear identification and understanding of the target segment, those affected by the problem, how they affect the social enterprise must disclose how its approach intends to improve inclusion for its customer or the recipients. Strategy. Strategy formulation toward accomplishing vision should take into account capability learning from challenges. ये differentiators दे रखे हैं for profit and non-profit organizations के. Management. Detail of key manager staff such as those in charge of programmers, fundraising, financing, HR, organizing disclose whether it is provide letter to staff and volunteers, defining roles and job responsibility, has a periodic performance appraisal process, etc. Operations. The organization has a physical existence, is operational and shares its address for visits. Finance. Disclosure of financial statement in accordance with guidelines of or NPO issued by ICAI. Compliance. Organization make available annual accounts duly audited for at least 3 financial years and there are no more material disqualification or material irregularities reported by its auditor. Compliance with respect to income tax or oblique notice display. Credibility. Documents such as registration, trust deed, MOA and AOA, address proof, IT PAN 12A, 12AA, registration, FCRA, return remuneration to governing member as per section 13 of the Income Tax Act. Social impact, strategy intent and planning impact scorecard. Risk, disclose first risk that the NPO sees to its work and how it purposes to mitigate this unintended consequences that the NPO sees from its work and how it purposes to mitigate this. The above categories will be used by potential funders, investors to differentiate between the various similar NPO and security being listed and to make them informed investment decision. For program specific or project specific listing, the NPO shall have to provide a greater level of detail in listing document about track record, impact credit in the program target set. The NPO will also be required to publicly display on its website all the information submitted as a part of pre-listing and post-listing requirement. As outlined of our offer document of social enterprise for FZCZP is available at the Annexure 3. Zero coupon, zero principal instrument. The social enterprise exchange lists out various procedure and workflow that is for registration, listing, delisting, accounting, disclosure, other fee, etc. laying out detailed roles and responsibility for the all stakeholders. आप भी देखेंगे डिटेल में दे रखा है इन्होंने नेक्स्ट 3 डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। सबसे पहला है टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट्स फॉर सेक्शन 1 जनरल डिस्क्लेमर एज डीम्ड फिट बाय सोशल सेक्टर एंटरप्राइज presentation of financial industry and other information deemed fit by SSC forward looking segment as deemed fit by SSC risk factor inclusion of risk of impact not being achieved risk unintended consequences introduction general information consider section 3 information general information to be published in this section capital structure as deemed fit by SSC जीरो कूपन और जीरो प्रिंसिपल इंस्ट्रूमेंट के इन्होंने ऑफर डॉक्यूमेंट रिक्वायरमेंट मेंशन कर रखी है, तो इसको आप एक बार रीड कर लीजिएगा। जनरल है। अब हम जो है नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं। अब कुछ सैंपल क्वेश्चंस हैं, उस पर हम डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। पहला क्वेश्चन है For fundraising through social stock exchange, a social enterprise needs to fulfill which of the following conditions? Establish the primary intent of social impact. Social enterprise must focus on under-reserved or underprivileged population. फर्स्ट आएगा, सेकंड आएगा या बोथ आएगा? आई थिंक बोथ आना चाहिए। देखिए बोथ आंसर। Who has prescribed minimum requirement for registration of NPO on a social stock exchange? SEBI guidelines से as per SEBI आएगा। थर्ड, which of the following entities are covered as per the mandatory criteria for NPO registration at the SEBI ICD regulation? A charitable registered under the charitable public trust statute of the relevant state, जैसे बॉम्बे स्टेट एक्ट है, बॉम्बे में अलग चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट का अलग से बॉम्बे स्टेट एक्ट हो गया। और जनरल है ए चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट रजिस्टर्ड अंडर सोसाइटी रजिस्ट्रेशन है 1860। तो ये जो है बोथ आएगा ए एंड बी। The offer document of a social enterprise for various modes of fund raising shall require disclosure aspect called question है offer document of the social enterprise for various modes of fund raising shall require disclosure of aspect called differentiators। ये जो मैंने डिस्कस किया था differentiators के बारे में, differentiators का। थैंक यू फ्रेंड्स, हमारा चैप्टर 4 यहीं ख़त्म होता है। आपको मेरा यूट्यूब चैनल अच्छा लगा हो तो काइंडली प्लीज़ लाइक सब्सक्राइब माई यूट्यूब चैनल। थैंक यू।